Good morning and welcome to Peace Out, where we are all learning together to peace out. And I don't know about you, but man, this life got some sucker punches lately, right? It just does not seem to want to let up. And that just means I'm on the right track and I'm just going to keep trusting God and letting His peace reign in my heart. It's, a lot of times, sometimes we think trouble is a sign that we did something wrong. But most of our Bible heroes were in trouble for doing everything right. Moses followed God specifically, followed Him to the T, and still ended up at the edge of the Red Sea. That kind of rhymed. Maybe I can write a poem about that. Anyway, and Pharaoh's army crushing him behind. Then they had no water, then they had no food. All these things happened. It was not a sign that God had abandoned them, and it was not a sign that Moses missed it, that he didn't obey. Jonah got himself in a bind because he disobeyed, right? He ended up in the belly of the whale, but God even met him there. So even if we mess up, God is with us. But bad things happening don't mean that God left, don't mean that we messed something up, doesn't mean that we got off track. Sometimes when things feel the most broken is when God's doing the most rearranging and acting on our behalf, but it messes up our stuff. Right? And so sometimes it's the enemy fighting us. Sometimes it's just our own dumb decisions. Guilty, right? Sometimes it's just life. But there's no indication that God's mad at us or that we're not doing things properly or we're not seeking Him or we're not following His word or we made a bad choice or that we sinned or did something wrong. It doesn't mean that at all. That's what we're going to talk about a little bit today because David found himself in a real sticky situation. Now, David had spent all those years running from Saul, right? He spent all those years, Psalm 31, he wrote in the back of the cave because he was hiding from Saul in the back of the cave, right? And he was hiding there. He was fighting for survival and he refused to raise his hand against God's anointed. Well, then David was really God's anointed already, but he refused to come against who God had put in place in Saul, right? And so Saul chased him and he ran and he spent years on the run in a cave with no place really to stay, all kinds of crazy things going on. And then Saul died and then David is finally made king. And now we get to live happily ever after, right? There's not one happily ever after in here. Not one lived happily ever after in the Bible until we get to Revelation. Yes and amen. That is the end. Amen. We will all live happily ever after. But that's the only happily ever after in the Bible, right? There's no stories. Matter of fact, isn't that the good thing though? Because in a fairy tale, everyone lives happily ever after. Does that mean nothing bad ever happens? Talk about a fantasy. Life is full of struggles, and David is such a prime example of someone who kept their faith and trust in God even in the middle of everything being broken, even in the middle of everything just being painful and hurting. So here in Psalm 3, we have him running from Absalom. He's been all those years running from Saul, who he wasn't even related to, and now his own son is trying to take over the kingdom. And it's in 2 Samuel around 15 to 20, give or take in there. I think maybe 18 was the last chapter. I don't remember. 15 to 18 in there. 2 Samuel. And Absalom has decided that he's going to take the kingdom from his father, right? Even though David is the one who's anointed. And so Absalom basically runs this whole conspiracy thing and conspires against David and deceitfully wins the heart of people. Is this 2025? No, this is Old Testament, right? And deceitfully wins the heart of the people, but he has very ill intent in that. There's always going to be those kind of people around. People don't change. Over all the years that people have been in existence since God made Adam and Eve in the garden, there's going to be bad people making bad choices, trying to defeat other people because it's going to make them feel better or something. But Absalom goes around and deceives and gets an army together and decides he's going to take David out. He's going to take the kingdom because he's mad because David didn't give it to him, right? And so he comes together. So David and all of his people are fleeing Jerusalem to keep from fighting Absalom. Absalom's coming into Jerusalem and he's in a mess. Well, short story, Absalom gets his hair. He had long hair and he got hung in a terebinth tree, and so they came and killed him. That was easy pickings, right? Just because he was hanging there by his hair, he couldn't defend himself, so they killed him. They were doing David a favor, but David in the process of that, lost his son. We find David in the middle again. Do you remember Ziklag? We talk about Ziklag a lot. And we've got he's got Ziklag. He wants to go fight the Philistines, but the army is telling him, no, you can't go because you used to be, I don't know, you can go back and fight you can't fight with the Philistines because you're going to go fight, you're not going to be able to fight against your brothers. And so you can't do this. And he was in between. And then when Ziklag got burnt, they were like, it's all your fault. And he was like, it's just all rough. David found himself in another situation like that because Absalom gets killed. And you see he pours it out in chapters in Samuel, 2 Samuel, where he says, Absalom, my son. And he grieved. And then his armies come to him and go, so you're just going to take away this victory? We won a big battle for you and you're just going to cry over your son? What a weird thing to say, right? But he found himself in between. He had to suck it up, basically, and go out and face his people as if his son hadn't just died. What a predicament. David is always finding himself in these predicaments. But before his son died, we have Psalm 3. This is what I love about David is he's not afraid to lay it all out there before God and go, this all just sucks. This all just hurts. This all is broken. This is horrible. I need your help. And in Psalm 3, that's what he's doing. And he says, Lord, how they have increased who trouble me. Many are those who rise up against me. Many are those who say to me that I don't have any help in God. He was distraught. He was like, I'm being fought on every side. I'm being squished and talk about living life in a pressure cooker, right? And then in verse 3 he says this, but you. He says, life is hard right now. They're saying that I don't have any hope in God. God's not even going to help me out of this. I've got so much trouble. Trouble has increased. I'm being pressed on every side. People are rising against me all around. But, and when but goes in there, it means forget everything I just said. Right? Have you ever had somebody say, I love you, but could you? Yeah, well, when they said but, you forgot that they loved you, right? It is, I trust you, but, well, then you don't really trust me, but, because that means forget it. So David says, but you, oh Lord, are a shield for me. David says, I see all this with my eyes. I feel all this with my emotions. I'm trying to figure this all out in my brain, which is going on overtime, trying to figure out all this stuff. But I know how I feel. But you, oh Lord, are a shield around me. My glory, you're the one who lifts my head. I cried to the Lord with my voice, and he has heard me from his holy hill. What a distraught, what a crazy psalm, right? He starts out just, this is horrible, but God is still God. God has still got me. God still hears my cry. He still hears my prayer, period. Yes and amen, right? He says, I lay down and I said, I'm still awake because God is sustaining me. I am still here, so God has still got me. I ain't dead, so God still got me, right? He says, I will not be afraid of 10,000s of people who have set themselves against me all about, even if one of them is my beloved son. Even if one of them is my son, I will not be afraid. I will not be afraid. He says, because God has got me. He is the sustainer of my soul. He is my shield. I will not be afraid. What a great declaration in the middle of some crazy stuff going on for David right here, right? And then he says, arise, O Lord, save me, oh my God. So he says, this is just such a heartfelt prayer, just a pouring it all out before God. Everybody says nobody is for me, God, but you are. Everyone says the economy sucks, but God is my source. The economy is not my source. My job's not my source. God is my source. Everyone says we're all going to get something and die, but God. But you, O Lord, are a shield for me. But you, O Lord, are the glory and the lifter of my head. But you, O Lord, are the sustainer of my soul. But you, O Lord, promise me peace. Ain't nobody big enough, bad enough, strong enough to take that away. He promises grace and mercy, and nobody can take that away from us. So it doesn't matter what it looks like. It doesn't matter if you're facing the Red Sea or got an army chasing you or somebody's trying to steal whatever, your peace or whatever. It does not matter because God has got it. But you, O Lord, but you, O Lord. I know what I see, but you, O Lord, are still God on the throne. So forget everything I just said. God is still on the throne. I don't care how. Go ahead and pour your heart out. Don't not do that. Pour your heart out. Lay it all out there. God is a safe place. God's a safe place to tell him all the crazy stuff that goes through your head and all the pain that goes through your heart and all the emotional turmoil of a day and trying to figure this out and that out. God is a safe place. Pour it out there. But then say, but forget everything I just said because God is still on the throne. But forget everything I just said because no matter what happens, God did not change this morning when I got up. No matter what changed yesterday in my life or what may change tomorrow, but God is always still the same. So pour it all out there and then trust him for one more day. He's there and he has not changed. And that's why I'm going to peace out today. I hope you have a great day. I hope you have a great weekend. I will see you bright and early Monday morning.